Jackson Radio Show.
The tarmac meeting between Loretta Lynch and former President Bill Clinton was what precipitated his action of taking it essentially from DOJ. But that doesn't seem to add up.
No, the chronology does not add up. Again, May the 2nd is when they are discussing their charging decision. The meeting on the tarmac was June 22nd, June 26th, June 27th. So that's a month and a half later. And then a couple of days later, they interview Secretary Clinton. And then 2 days later, they decide that they're not going to charge. And he makes that public pronouncement. So his ostensible reason for taking that decision away from the Department of Justice was that meeting on the tarmac. But yet a month and a half earlier, he is memorializing a decision he's already made. So the chronology does not add up. His answers have been all over the map to both the Intelligence Committee and the clip you just played from Oversight. So we need to talk to him again, but we need to look at these memos before we have that conversation with him.
So you would like to see Comey back testifying on Capitol Hill?
For a number of reasons. He made a lot of decisions in 2016 that I think are worth reviewing. You know, Brett, whenever somebody decides to charge someone, there are lots of layers of scrutiny. When you decide not to charge someone, there aren't that many layers of scrutiny, but there ought to be at least a couple. The media should do it, but also Congress should look at this decision not to charge and whether or not it was made before you interviewed 24 witnesses, including the target of the investigation. Yeah, we need to talk to him again.
Loretta Lynch is up on the Hill Friday, we're told. Will she be asked any of this?
I don't think so. She's appearing before the House Intelligence Committee, and it will be limited to the scope of the Russia investigation, although you raise a good point. There are lots of reasons to talk to Loretta Lynch also, including to either corroborate or contradict Jim Comey's recollection that he talked to her about his decision to appropriate the Clinton server decision onto himself, but not on Friday. That will be restricted to what did Russia do and with whom did they do it.
Welcome back, everybody. That was, of course, Trey Gowdy talking about crooked James Comey, the FBI director who'd never been in law enforcement, the FBI director who had run interference for the Clintons for the better part of a decade. And where's all the clamor about Donald Trump fired FBI director, he should be impeached? You know where that's gone? It's gone into the dung heap of history because everybody knows exactly why Comey was fired. You had one of the most corrupt FBI directors, one-sided, in the history of our nation. You think Hoover was bad. Comey was a person who's supposed to have the public's best interest in mind. He's supposed to investigate people impartially. And he's doing it, providing cover for an entire administration. Between Comey and Loretta Lynch, the Clintons and the Obamas could operate with impunity. They had nothing to worry about. The Clintons set up one of the most crooked organizations known to man. And nothing's been said. Now it's starting to come out. I mean, the scandal-free administration maybe isn't quite as scandal-free as they said. We've got Debbie Wasserman Schultz and this guy Awan, the Pakistani guys who had free access to the servers. We're now understanding more about the Russian deal. We're now understanding more about Hillary's collusion with Comey, as we've just described. We're now understanding, we get redacted information about the meeting between Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch when they're talking about golf and grandchildren. So let me just put it to you this way, because I figure you may be ahead of me. If all you're talking about is golf and grandchildren, why do we get redacted data? Why do we get redacted information about what you talked about? You don't want to put, if you redact the names of the grandkids. What did they do? My grandson, Kevin Jackson, born, blah, blah, blah. I got 3 little grandkids, 2 boys and a girl. Yeah, how's the golf game? Well, I don't know. I'm still kind of, using the foot wedge every now and then or whatever. Really? What is there to redact? Why redact anything? The only reason why these clowns would redact something is because they don't want the public to lose faith in government. That's the biggest deal. Hey, let me tell you something, folks. Too late. Haven't you lost faith in government? I've lost faith that government really cares about our money and how it's spent, really cares about being good fiduciaries to the public's finances. And do you think they really care about whether or not you trust their decisions? These guys are bringing pork home. They are self-indulgent, satisfying only their constituents. And don't misunderstand me. They're there to deal with their constituents. But if something isn't in the best interest of the country, you can't selfishly say, well, I'm going to get high-speed rail for my constituents, even though I know it's a boondoggle, because I feel that way. Look, I'm not saying high-speed rail is. I'm just saying you can't make it self-serving to where it doesn't benefit the entire public. And that's what they do. But generally speaking, they don't care what you think. It doesn't matter what the project is. The only thing they care about the project is how does that project enrich them, enrich their campaigns, and allow for them to continually be, in power, quite frankly. It's pretty sad. So we've got these guys colluding with the Russians. The Clintons have set up a system that allows this type of corruption to flourish. It has enriched them beyond belief. You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see the Justice Department go in and seize the assets of the Clintons. That's what I'd like to see. I bet many of you would too. I'd like to see them seize Comey's assets. I'd like to see them seize Barack Obama's assets. We have a government run amok. We have a guy who finally gets it and says, you know what? I'm going to change these things. I'm going to give you visibility into what I've been seeing as a billionaire for a long time, how the system is going against you. And we've got, I don't even think the lowest common denominator voter is against us on this. I think it's the elites that are against us on this. The very same people that allow a Harvey Weinstein to flourish, not to just do okay. This man flourished both in prosperity of money and in availability of people to whom he could, take advantage of sexually. It's unbelievable. Scandal-free. According to unredacted portions of the transcripts, it appears that in April or early May of 2016, Comey had decided he would issue a statement exonerating Secretary Clinton long before FBI agents finished their work. Remember when Comey was explaining that whatever number of FBI agents interviewed Hillary Clinton, and he was asking Congress, can we see the notes? And he says, they didn't take them. I want you to stop for 1 second and ask yourself, would you have a woman like Hillary Clinton, you want to know, the possibility of RICO fraud, racketeering, whatever and corruption. And you have the ability, you've got the linchpin of the organization there, and you don't take any notes. You don't record it, audio, you don't record video of her answers. It's just, I don't even know what they took. They just did like a summary. Okay, what were your thoughts, Bill? Well, I'm just going from memory here because I didn't take notes in the meeting. Dozens of FBI agents. I think they said in all 150 involved in the investigation. I don't know how many were in the room, but enough to be able to say, here are the notes. Here's why we made the decision. We got nothing. Bupkis. And I'm trying to figure out, how does that happen? And then Comey walked us down the trail of, she did, but there was no intent. And people were like, but you don't need intent. Yeah, but like I said, there was no intent. Yeah, but you don't need intent. Yeah, but still, this guy, it was almost like Comey said, how can I frame this? He spent his entire time trying to figure out how to frame it in such a way that I could make Hillary guilty without making her guilty and get over. That's what he spent his time doing. It's pretty pathetic, actually. So the Congress knew they smelled a rat. They said conclusion first, fact gathering second. That's no way to run an investigation. The FBI should be held to a greater standard than that, especially in the matter of such great public interest and controversy. This is what Graham wrote to Grassley, and committee member Lindsey Graham wrote to the FBI director Christopher Wray last month. Both those guys are right, which, I don't trust Graham, but he's right on this issue. People need to be, you can't be satisfied as an American to watch this going on and say, why aren't people in prison? And I think the best way to go after these people is freeze their assets.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.